They thought breaking you would be the end. They mistook your silence for surrender, your fall for failure, your scars for weakness. But what they didn't understand is that the breaking was the beginning. Pain didn't just visit you, it made a home in your bones. You were shattered, stripped down to dust, and left to rot in the ruins of who you once were. And yet, from that wreckage you didn't crawl, you rose. Bent, maybe, changed absolutely, but never destroyed. You were remade in the dark, reforged in silence. While they laughed, you rebuilt. While they watched for you to beg, you learned to breathe under the weight of it all. Every crack in your soul was filled with fire. Every fracture was sealed with resolve. You didn't heal the way they hoped, you evolved in ways they'll never understand. And now, there's nothing soft left for them to reach. No open wound to exploit. You are no longer made of what broke. You are made of what survived. They can't hurt you anymore, because you're not who you were. You're not the version of you they tried to crush. That person burned away in the furnace of betrayal, loss, and agony. What remains is a weapon, bold, precise, unyielding. You've been baptized in the very fire they lit to destroy you. And now that same fire fuels your every step. Let them come. Let them try. What breaks the first time becomes unbreakable the next. You've already lost everything once. And somehow you built back something stronger. Not just harder, but smarter, sharper, more dangerous. So when they look at you now, they're not just looking at a survivor. They're looking at the consequence of their mistake. You can't hurt what's already been broken and remade, because now you're the one who knows pain, and you know how to use it. Good, because this is the part they never see coming. They think your calm is peace, but it's pressure, coiled and waiting. They think your quiet is weakness, but it's calculation. You've learned not to speak every time you're provoked. You've learned that true strength doesn't need to prove itself, it waits, it watches, and when the time comes, it strikes. You've studied every angle of your own pain until it became a blueprint, a map of your rebirth. So when they test you now, they're not just testing who you are, they're testing everything that broke you and failed to kill you. And that is a fight they've already lost. Because there's power in the ones who've crawled through their own grave. There's danger in the ones who built armor out of regret and turned agony into ammunition. You're not just made of muscle or mind. You're made of moments, the ones no one saw. The nights you couldn't breathe. The hours you begged to be free. The countless times you almost gave in, but didn't. You stitched yourself back together with rage, with vision, with silence. And now you move like someone who's seen the other side of despair and came back fluent in fire. Let them talk. Let them throw stones. Let them poke and prod and laugh. That's all noise. You've been through worse than their worst. You've faced demons that know your name and dreams that tried to choke you in your sleep. What could they possibly do now? You've already met the bottom. You lived there. And you didn't just climb out, you tore the floor out and rewrote the rules. They can't undo what you've become. Because you didn't just rebuild, you redesigned. You reimagined what strength could look like when it's born of agony and patience and fury wrapped in discipline. You are that formula now. The one they'll never crack. the one they'll never predict. Because what's been broken and remade doesn't just resist pain. It feeds on it. Then let them come. Let them bring their blades, their words, their schemes. You won't flinch. You won't fall. You welcome it now, not because you want the fight, but because you are the fight. Everything they throw is just another echo in a storm you already conquered. You don't need permission to move forward. You don't wait for validation or hope for fairness. You've seen what happens when the world turns cold, and instead of running, you became colder, sharper, steel forged from soul. You learned to stand alone, to walk through fire without looking back, to hold your own heart in your hands and dare the world to take it again. But they can't, because now it beats behind armor. Not the kind they see, but the kind they feel when you walk into a room, the weight, the pressure, the presence. That's not arrogance. That's survival, given form. You don't roar to prove power anymore. You breathe, and the ground remembers you. And if there are others watching, others who are still in the dark, still bleeding, still wondering if they can make it out, show them. Not with words, but with presence, with the way you rise, the way you keep going when everything says stop. You are the evidence that the broken can rebuild, that the fallen can rise harder, wiser, crueler to those who once held the hammer. You're not here for revenge. You're here as proof that what breaks doesn't end, it evolves. It becomes something else, something untouchable, something feared. So walk like you've been to war, because you have. Speak like you own your silence, because you do. Move like you remember who tried to bury you and never forget they failed. The world doesn't get to define you. They don't get to label you fragile or fearless or anything in between, because you've shattered every label they tried to stick to your skin. You are beyond names now, beyond roles, beyond the neat little boxes they built to contain people like you. You are chaos that learned discipline, fire that chose direction. You were born again, not into comfort, but into clarity. And clarity is power. Because once you see the truth, what they are, what you are, there's no going back. No pretending, no shrinking. You walk with the knowledge that survival alone isn't enough. Not for you. No, survival was the start. But you've turned survival into dominion. Over your fears, over your past, over every twisted whisper that told you to quit. You own your narrative now, not as a victim, but as an architect. You carved your identity from stone, not sand. You built something inside that doesn't shake when the winds change, because you are the storm now. And if they try to reach for you again, try to pull you back into the chaos you clawed your way out of, don't waste your breath. Don't explain, don't argue, just stand there. Let your silence do what your screams never could. Let them see the reflection of what they made and realize it's no longer theirs to control. You owe them nothing. Not your pain. Not your story. Not your reaction. This is where it turns. This is where the hunted becomes the hawk. Where the broken becomes the blade. Where the memory of what you endured becomes the fuel for what you'll build next. You are not finished. You are just beginning. And this time you're not climbing out of the pit. You're digging one for anyone who thinks they can put you back there. Because some of us weren't made to be saved. We were made to be reborn. because you can't hurt what's been broken and remade. And you never will again. Like, comment, and subscribe.